Good morning or afternoon or evening or whatever time you're watching this. I'm recording this in the morning, so I'm going to say good morning. So today we're going to look at 5 maps and graphs about things going on in the United States and around the world. We are going to look at what are the world's most diabetic countries, what countries have the highest rate of diabetes. We're going to look at the largest pharmaceutical companies around the world and how much money they make. And we're also going to look at what's the traffic like in the Panama Canal and what are they hauling through the canal, and a couple other maps. So let's get started. So the first map we're going to look at is the World Diabetic Map. So it says that over 735 million adults between the ages of 20 and 79 currently have diabetes. That's about 10.5% of the population of the world. They are expecting the number to go up as people continue to eat unhealthy. Their prediction is 11.3% by 2030 and 12.2% by 2045. I know a lot of people who have diabetes, and diabetes does affect a lot of people. So if you are diabetic, I really encourage you to do some research, to work on your sugar intake, to work on your carb intake, to exercise, because all of those things can help maybe not get rid of your diabetes, but it can really, really help manage your diabetes. So let's dive into the countries and look at the numbers. So we're going to go to North America first. All right, so the United States is in the 11% to 15% range. So saying 11% to 15% of all adults between 20 and 79 have diabetes in the United States, or are pre-diabetic. Numbers are just high enough to be considered diabetic. Mexico is in the 16 to 20% range. Canada up here is in the 6 to 10% range. Most of South America is in the 6 to 10% range, except for like Chile is in the 11 to 15% range. Like Guyana is in the 11 to 15% range. So if we go up here to the Middle East and Africa, so it's showing most of Africa is in the 6 to 10% range. You've got a lot of countries in the 0 to 5% range. And then you have countries like Sudan is in the 11 to 15% range. Egypt's in the 16 to 20% range. Saudi Arabia is in the 11 to 15% range. But then you have Pakistan, which is the highest country on the map, in the 26 to 30% range. So 26 to 30% of all adults ages 20 to 79 have diabetes in Pakistan. You can see that most of Europe into Russia is in that 11 to 15% range. If we go down here into the islands, you've got a lot of 11 to 15% here. You've got some, like Malaysia, Papua New Guinea, are in that 16 to 20% range. And then you can't really see the islands very well. But it looks like Fiji might be a little bit darker of a color. So, where do you live, and what is the percentage of, what is your diabetic percentage in your country? So the next graph we're going to look at is Panama Canal traffic. So this is from October 2022 to September of 2023. So it says 270 billion in cargo gets shipped through the Panama Canal average annually. You can see the picture up here of where the Panama Canal is between Mexico, like going down out of Mexico into Panama, and then connecting you to South America. So you have the blocks are going to be the net tonnage that went through, and then the number is going to be the number of crossings that went through the canal. And then, of course, you've got these cute little pictures of the ships. So the type of ship that went through the most is going to be a container ship, 2,787 crossings with about 193,000 net tons. You can see dry bulk will be next with about 2,649 crossings, chemical tankers, liquefied petroleum gas, vehicle containers, roll-on, roll-off, refrigerated, general cargo, crude product, LNG, other, and then the last one would be passenger ships. So 240 passenger ships went through the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal is on my list of places I would love to go see and visit and see how it works. So have you ever been to or through the Panama Canal? Let me know. So the next graph we're going to look at is Americans by income. So this is a graph from 2023. So as you can see, it is broken down by income ranges, with the highest being over $200,000. So 10.3% of Americans make over $200,000. 9.4% of Americans make under $15,000. If you go from here to here, so these lower four, 37.8% of Americans make under $50,000. Me and my husband would both fall into this 16.5% earners between $50,000 and $74,900. But as you can see, 90% of Americans make under $200,000. And let's see, 90, 80, 70-ish percent of Americans make under $100,000 a year. Are you surprised by these numbers? Honestly, I'm not. I do feel like a good majority of Americans do make in this middle range here, like me and my husband. I was honestly surprised that this number was as high as it was. I did not think that many Americans made over $200,000. So this is Americans by income. All right, the next graph-ish, I'm going to call it a graph, we're going to look at is the world's largest pharmaceutical companies. So it said, 4.7 trillion in market cap for pharmaceutical companies was held by just 50 companies, with a majority based in the United States. So let's look at those. So we're going to zoom in as much as I can. There we go. Okay, so the United States has 56.1% of the contribution to the market cap. So let's look at our bigger companies. We have Lilly with $578.3 billion. You have Johnson & Johnson. We've all heard of Johnson & Johnson with about $377.6 billion. Let's see. We've got Pfizer. We've all heard of Pfizer with $181.2 billion. Then you've also got like LabCorp, CVS Health. Let's see. AbbVie. I don't think I've ever heard of them. Baxter, Moderna. So these are the major pharmaceutical companies in the United States. When we move over to Europe, it's showing that Europe has 34.3% of the market cap, with companies such as Novo Nordisk with $452.8 billion, AstraZeneca with $212.2 billion. You've got Bayer up here with $45 billion. Some other companies such as Icon, Genmab, and RP. And then we go to Asia and the Pacifics with 9.6% of the market cap. So you've got companies like CSL with 73.2 billion percent, and you've got Sun Pharma with 32.8 billion, not percent on the CSL, dollars, $32.8 billion of the market cap. So this is how the world's largest pharmaceutical companies are divided. Are you surprised by this? I surely am not. I'm not surprised that the United States has the biggest is the biggest contributor to the market cap on pharmaceutical companies. And then the last chart we're going to talk about is the median salary for lawyers, which it shows that the median salary for lawyers in California, New York, and Massachusetts are the highest around the nation. 100% not surprised about that at all, showing that they make above $160,000 annually. So when we slide in a little bit, we will see that the dark pink and the pinks and the little light here, so from like 140 down, seem to be the average. You've got Colorado is in that darker purple there, Virginia's in that darker purple, Rhode Island and Connecticut are in that darker purple, and then you've got the really dark purple, which are California, New York, and Massachusetts. So are you surprised at what the average salary of a lawyer is in your state? In my state, it's showing 100 to 120. Not really surprised by that. If you go down here, it says data for Delaware is unavailable for this timeline. Annual median salaries in Washington, D.C. are $177,000-ish. So, where do you live and what is the average salary for a lawyer in your state? If you like today's video and you want to see more videos like the one today, please like, subscribe, and comment below with something that you learned.